Hey everyone, excited to kick off this webinar. My name is Mangat Ng. I am the co-founder and CEO of Anvil, and I will be doing this webinar today. So this is a two-part series. This webinar is going to be focused on orienting you around Anvil's products, and then really giving you a tour of Anvil's templating UI, something that you can, go in there and play with yourself today. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please do pop them into the Q&A. My colleague Sophie is going to be monitoring that and sending it over to me. And then, we'll make sure to leave some time at the very end to answer some questions. So to start, quick agenda. We're going to start by talking about the Anvil platform, orient you around all the things we offer and why you should consider using Anvil. Then we're going to jump into talking about how you can easily and quickly create PDF templates using our no-code UI. This will be a live demo. It kind of gives you the basics. And then immediately after that, we will jump into some of our advanced template features that makes editing these templates extremely easy and accessible to anybody on your team. And finally, we will have a bit of an open Q&A session at the very end. So please do make sure to pop in your questions. Awesome. To start, the Anvil platform. So what Anvil is a developer-first infrastructure piece for building software that automates paperwork. So we provide you all of the pieces that you need in order to go from collecting data, generating the documents, all the way through e-signature. And we make it very developer friendly by allowing you to access our services through API, integrate it directly into your product, or just embed it on your website. So it's meant to be integrated as part of your product. It's meant to be easy to use, and it's built on a modern tech stack. So this is, when you think of modern tech stack, you can think of React, you can think of GraphQL, those types of technologies that are common amongst technology companies today. So, just a quick highlight, a great use case for Anvil is people building software in industries that are a little bit more established and will ultimately have to encounter paperwork as part of their product building process. And Anvil kind of takes that off of your hands. And I don't think any technology company really thinks of paperwork as their core competency, maybe except for us. So I would say definitely, hopefully you can rely on us to do that. So the Anvil platform really consists of a few pieces. At the lowest level, there's PDF services. This powers our ability to generate documents, fill out documents, and will, be a big part of what I'm demonstrating today. Building on top of that, we have Etch eSign. You can think of this as a embeddable e-signature tool that can be placed right into your product. It allows you to request e-signatures directly in Flow so that you don't have to kick users out to another service. Or if you decide to kind of, want to kick somebody out through email, send it through that way, you can also configure it to do that. It's also stylable, so you can customize it to look and feel like your product. And finally, we have web forms. Web forms, you can think of it as exactly what it sounds like, online forms with all of the things you expect out of online forms. We won't really be talking about these two products today, but it is a pretty powerful piece of Anvil. And then workflows is the ability to tie it all together into one seamless experience, from an online embeddable experience for gathering data all the way through generating the correct documents through e-signatures and then pulling all of that data back into your service. On the right-hand side, we have this chart that kind of demonstrates what the stack looks like and who would be the person interacting with each part. We do have enterprise features like SSO, child orgs, and audit trails. These are very useful, especially for larger organizations. Great. So let's get to the meat of it. Creating PDF templates with our no-code UI. This is a really nice UI that we built both for developers and non-developers. I think developers will enjoy the fact that they don't have to handcraft or hand code PDFs into their system. And then non-developers can now partake and help out in the process of converting PDFs into programmatic pieces of your application. So for templating a PDF, it's pretty easy. There's 3 simple steps. You can upload a PDF or a docx. We do support docx. It gets converted into a PDF in our system. Identify the fields. This is something that you can easily do by yourself when you're tagging a document, or if you have a fillable PDF or a templated document in other e-signatures platforms, you can download it and then upload it into Anvil, and we will automatically identify those fields for you. And then lastly, tag your fields. So PDFs are messy. If you've ever opened up a fillable PDF, oftentimes the names are funky. You know, it'll be like F0 and then a bunch of commas and brackets and stuff like that. Anvil allows you to tag it so that you can give it a nice name, as well as set the field type, which helps you to print out the information in the exact format that you want. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into our Anvil demo. Cool. So this is our Anvil product. This is what you see when you log into Anvil. There are a couple of pieces here on the left-hand side. We briefly covered them. You can see here there's eSign and workflows. Web forms would be part of a workflow, but we're really going to be focused on document templates today. So let's go ahead and actually create a document template right now. I'm going to just hit create template, and it's going to ask me to drop in a document, and I'm going to drop in a I9 PDF. This is something that I just downloaded off the internet. It's a fillable version, so it will automatically identify all of the fields on this PDF. Once you're in here, you can see that there are all these fields that have been identified. If you notice here, like I mentioned, this is kind of a messy name. You would never want to show this to a customer, or it's also pretty difficult to use as a programmer. So you can give it a nice name. I'm going to go ahead and say this is last name. I'm going to make this one first name. And so this is the tagging process that you would do in cleaning up the document. So I'm going to make this field here a name field. And what that does is it allows me to format the output of the information being placed on this PDF. So this field here is last name. It's a name field. It's going to ask me how this name is set up. Here you can see it's first, middle, and last name field. That's how it's set up. This specific field is the last name. And then I'm going to go ahead and link up all of the other fields. So now when you pass information to this field to fill out, Anvil will automatically break up the name into its component pieces and put them in the correct box. Pretty nice, I would say, from a formatting perspective. This can also be done with our address fields. So here we have a different field type called US address. And again, we can specify how this field is set up. It could be line 1, line 2, all in one field. In this case, it's broken out. So we're going to say this is street 1. And then street 2 is going to be the apartment number, city, state, and zip. And then also we do allow for country. This is a little bit of a misnomer right now, but this is a new feature that we pushed out. Dates are pretty awesome in Anvil as well. You can see this one was automatically identified as a date field. We do some processing when the PDF's uploaded based on the name of the field to kind of take our best guess at what type of field it should be. Here, I'm gonna make this a birthday. And then down here, you can see there's different formats, right? Here, the PDF specifies month, day, year. So we're going to do the same with slashes, and that's how we'll specify the date. And then this is a unique one. So here we have Social Security. You'll notice that there's actually 3 fields here, but there's 9 digits. Sorry. 8 digits. I don't know. There's more than 3 digits in a Social Security field. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just do this as boxes. So you can draw multiple boxes so that it breaks out the Social Security field into its individual component characters, right? So what you do is you go in here, and I'm actually going to change this to boxes per letter. And then I'm just going to connect up all the boxes. Sometimes it's useful to do it from the other way because the UI does sometimes get in the way, just like that. Now what this will do is when I pass a Social Security number to this field here, which is connected, it will actually take the first 3 digits and put them into each corresponding box. I could do this for n number of boxes. I could do it for this entire Social Security field. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and do it for the 3 boxes. Email address, again, email. And then there's other nice boxes here. So, sorry, other nice features from field types. We can select this one as a checkbox, or we can make it into a radio group. Either or works, especially for filling this out programmatically. It probably doesn't matter if it's a radio group or checkbox. Radio groups really just allow us to specify that only one box should be filled in here out of the fields in the radio group. So I want to connect all these up. Some other nice things is you can easily move boxes around. Sometimes it's misaligned. You can stretch out the boxes. You can set the positioning of text within the box to be centered, right justified, left justified. You can format the look and feel of information being put in, bold, italicized. Also, we have a handful of fonts. These are Google fonts that can be used in filling out the PDF. This can be set at the PDF level or at the individual field level. If you're setting it on the field level font will override the PDF level font. And then of course there's text size and color as well. So that's the basic functionality of our PDF editor. Besides that, another nice little thing is you can hit Command Z, so kind of undo at any point in time. You can also click out of a box, and then you'll see that there's these arrows that lets you undo things that you've done in case you've messed up. Finally, there is a nice little publish feature. So what this does is that it creates a version inside of Anvil. So I'm going to say this is V1, and you can always roll back. So just like that, I've created a template. This is now ready to be filled out over API. I'll go ahead and show you how that is done later on in the webinar, but for now, I want to jump into talking about the advanced template features a little bit. So, that UI was pretty simple. Somebody who's non-technical, doesn't have a lot of understanding of how technology works, should be able to pick that up and use it. We have a couple of nice advanced features that some are more geared towards developers, and some are more geared towards like power users if you want to do a lot of things very quickly. So coming back into here, I'm going to go back into this existing template. And the first thing I'm going to show you is what I'm going to call multi-select. So if you're doing multi-select, it's pretty awesome. You might want to move a bunch of fields at the same time. What you do is you hold down Shift and then you click and drag. You'll notice that I've selected 4 boxes here, and then I can move them around as I choose. I can also cut and paste. So if I hit Command X on Mac or Control X on Mac, on Windows, it will cut all the fields. Then you scroll to the page that you want. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Scroll to the page that I want. And I'm just going to hit paste. And you'll notice that these boxes showed up here. They show up in the same position on the page as they did on the previous page because PDFs are kind of a coordinate-based system. But yeah, it's pretty easy, pretty nice for moving boxes around. I'm going to move these back up here. And I'm going to just deselect them. The next thing is called multi-align. So I'm going to do this. Just like move these around a bit, you know. So you notice like these boxes are no longer aligned. I can highlight them all. And then you'll have these nice align features up on the top to line them up nicely. You can see that. You can also do things like resize multiple boxes at the same time. So if I just grab these all, it actually resizes them accordingly. And then I'm just going to move these back to make this PDF nice and neat. Other things you can do with multi-select is you can draw a couple of boxes here. And let's say these are all supposed to be date boxes. I can select all of them. And then I can set the type across all of them at the same time. It could be a date, it could be a phone number, it could be any of these field types. So I'm going to just go ahead and set this one to be email. So now they're all email fields. Anvil does a nice job of automatically filtering down the functionality here to the things that can apply to all the boxes. So here you'll notice field name is various. I can rename them all to be the same field name, right? I can set all of the fields to be centered. So it's really filtering it down to the specific type of actions you can take on the superset of boxes you've selected. Great. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Again, shift, click and drag, and I'm just going to hit delete. Images. Images are something that's often put onto PDFs, and we do have some nice alignment features. I'm going to make this an image field. And then you can set the containment of the image box. So you can say the image has to fit inside this box. You can say the image has to fit within the height, but the width might overflow. Width and height constrained. So there's a bunch of different ways to contain an image inside of a box. That's a nice little feature, especially if you're trying to put a logo onto a PDF or trying to make it so it looks nice. The next feature here is really going to be a feature that's geared towards developers. So one common scenario with PDFs is that you have 5, 6, 7 PDFs that need to be edited or that need to be filled out over API. And they're all asking for the same information. Let's say they all ask for name, they all ask for address. So instead of keeping track of the ID of these fields to be filled out, you can actually give it a unique name that's unique to your system, and then just use that as part of the data payload when you're passing data to Anvil. So in this case, I want to say, person name. When typing a field alias, you want it to be camel cased, no spaces, because it will be passed in as kind of a JSON payload. Again, person address. And what I'm going to do here is actually show you what that does, right? So remember, this is person name, and this is person address. I want to hit publish. And now I'm going to show you the API tab, which is what I alluded to earlier. The API tab gives you some useful information, but let's first focus on the example data payload down here. We auto-generate this based on the PDF. You'll notice that person name is the key in the payload, and so is person address. Any of the other fields that don't have a field alias get the auto-generated ID or the kind of, in this case, I think it's pulling the name, the unique name off of the PDF. PDFs have two different kind of field names. One is a display one, and one is like kind of a unique one, and that's what we're pulling off here. But imagine if you were to go in and tag all of the fields with field aliases. This would be a really nice, readable JSON payload, and also it would be consistent from PDF to PDF. Up here, we have the PDF template ID, which is helpful when identifying the PDF. This is auto-generated and unique. And this is the URL that you would use to make the request to fill out the PDF. So that's the API endpoint. We do make this easy for you to test out. There is a Postman workspace that you can go check out. We also have lots of clients, or you can simply make a curl request to our system with your API keys. And this will be something that we will demonstrate at our next webinar for you to see. Great, okay. Last thing before we switch over to Q&A here is called text tags. For text tags, you can think of it as kind of like web merge, field merging, where in your document, you can specify some curly braces, and those curly braces will then be extracted in Anvil, and we will automatically put a field, a fillable field, in place of those curly braces. The field goes on top of the text tag. So I'm gonna go ahead and upload a docx. So when it's uploaded, Anvil will convert it into a PDF, and in that process, we will identify the fields. And so you can see there's a bunch of fields here, and beneath it, we have these text tags. You can see it says short text, company name, company name. What this does is actually, it's anything between the two curly brackets is a special code for Anvil to parse it out. This is a short text field. The field name is company name, and the field alias is company name without a space. You'll notice that this automatically grabbed them all. If you scroll down, there's a bunch more. One thing to note, you can see the text tag here, and what Anvil will do is place the text that you want to fill in the box over the text tag. So what we suggest is actually making any text tag inside of your document white, so that it's blended into the background of the PDF. This is pretty standard practice across all document platforms, and then you won't see it, but Anvil can still read it out of the document. Great, and with that, that concludes our advanced features, and we will move forward to Q&A. So I see there's quite a few questions here. Let's take a look here. Great, and then let me pull up my chat as well. So, okay, so we have a couple of questions. I guess to start, one question was, how do you migrate templates? If you already have templates built out in, let's say, DocuSign, for example, you can actually download those templates and then automatically upload it into Anvil. Anvil will then parse it and automatically identify all the fields. If you've already done the work of tagging them nicely, Anvil will also parse out that information. Another question, how do you handle a PDF when it changes? One nice thing about Anvil is the fields are separated from the underlying PDF. So let's say I upload a new PDF. Let's say the I-9 gets updated over the course of each year it gets updated. You can upload the new I-9 underneath the original PDF template here, and it will update the I-9, but the fields will stay the same. Oftentimes there might be some wrapping issues, so you just got to move the fields around so they fit in the correct location. Are you able to hard code text in a box? Yes, that is possible. Something I did not demo earlier, but happy to demo right now. If you go in, you should be able to, in this case, it would be passed in, but you should be able to hard code the text into a PDF field. Can fields and font sizes be adjusted on per API call basis? Yes, they can. You can pass in the PDF API request. You can actually pass in some font information. And it will change the font or the specific font size. Okay, let's see here. One aspect. Yes, we got a question here about locked PDFs. Unfortunately, the Adobe, way of locking down a PDF is something that's proprietary, and so we don't have a good way to work around it today. Typically, what we suggest doing, if it's something you want to migrate, is you open the PDF in Adobe and then export it or print it out as a PDF, and then upload it into Anvil. Unfortunately, this is not an ideal situation, I would say, but it is something that even Chrome can't open those PDFs today. Any validation of field type? Yes, each field type has built-in validation and formatting. We can provide some validation, but I think typically when somebody wants to do more detailed validation or more complex validation, they use our web form tool, which you can then even provide your own validation kind of code that you would like applied to any value that's input. Conditional fields to set appearance parameters. Again, in this scenario, filling out the PDF is really an API request, so it's all backend. If you have a field that you don't want filled in, you would just not pass us the data, and it'll remain blank on the PDF. If you're trying to, if you're requesting information from a customer, we suggest checking out our web forms product, and that provides a much nicer user experience, much more control over the look and feel and the validation of the data that's coming in. Currently, in terms of the scale versus fit function for images, currently the options you saw are the options that we provide, but we are always looking to improve. So thank you for the suggestion, and we'll keep adding new features over time. Can the font size be adjusted on a per API call basis? I think I saw this question elsewhere as well. Yes, it can be. It can be adjusted on a per API call basis. It can also be adjusted on a specific field or on the entire PDF over API. Great. Hopefully I've answered everybody's questions. I think there was one question here is, could you show again how you link the field? We will definitely make sure this video is available after the webinar, so you can go watch it and review it and pause and see everything that you would like to see. But if you have any other questions, please do feel free to reach out to us. We're very responsive on our support channel, which is support@useanvil or sales@useanvil, if you're looking to learn more about pricing. And then we do have another webinar scheduled in about a month's time that will go over filling this PDF out over API. And it will be more developer focused, but also might be useful for your non-developers to jump in here and kind of see and understand how Anvil works. Great. Thank you everybody for attending, and look forward to seeing everybody at the next webinar.